Today's video will demonstrate how to implement a data structure. Hello, I'm James Helfrich. One of the most difficult parts of writing a program is knowing where to start and how to take small bite-sized chunks of the problem rather than try to do a big bang approach. This video will demonstrate that process by implementing the queue data structure. Okay, we're going to start with a bunch of unit tests, and I have a whole bunch of unit tests for the queue. I'm also going to have the queue class itself, which is going to be commented out. It's going to be stubbed out. So every method is going to be empty. Sometimes I have to return something or it won't compile. But there's no implementation thus far of the queue. Okay, so we'll start by going into, I'll start by just running to make sure it works. And when I run it, it will in fact compile. But what I'm going to get is a whole bunch of errors. I get basically nothing is really implemented right now, so I'm getting a whole bunch of errors. And that's kind of intimidating to work with. So I'm going to go back into my test queue, and I'm going to take everything here and just comment it out. Comment it out. And now when I run it, I should have no errors, but I also have no unit tests. Okay. There were no unit tests. Okay, I guess my debugger crashed. That's kind of weird. Okay, so now I'm going to start with just one single unit test. I'll make it the simplest one I can do here. The default constructor. I'm going to run it. And looks like the default constructor works. That's awesome. So now I'll try the destructors, and I'll comment that out and run it. And once again, the destructors work. This is great. The stub just works. Let's try now. Now, I'm always looking for the easiest possible method to test. So I'm going to test this one, that empty is, that we're empty. And when I run it, it's going to say, whoop, nope. We have, this one does not pass. So we're going to take a look at test size empty to see what that does for me. So let's find that line of code, test size empty, initialization constructor, the constructors, constructor, test size empty. Okay, so this does not work. Let's figure out why. I'm going to run the program here, and I'm going to stop in this breakpoint. All right, so I'm going to jump into here, and it says size 100. That doesn't seem right. And nothing is going to get compiled there, but it's just going to assert. Okay, so now I need to go into that code, and size is not 100. Let's try 0. Okay, going to run it again. Oop, my breakpoint set again. Haha, didn't mean to do that, but I'll just run from here, and that worked. Okay, I don't think it's quite right, but you know, it passed. Okay, so now we'll go for our next one. And our next one is test size standard. Okay, let's uncomment that one. Let's run it. And when I run it, oh, the size is supposed to be 4. I'm not sure what's going on there. So let's run it again. I'm going to step into, and I'm going to the unit test. I'm creating a standard fixture, which in other words, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 elements here. And when I run into it, step over, step over, step over, step into, and that is clearly not 4. But what is the correct answer here? Well, my container has a size which is 4. So maybe I'll just ask my container how big it is. So I'm going to stop that. And let's see here. My container is, what's going to be its value here? This is a list, and the list is the member variable called container. So I'm just going to say container.size. Let's see if that works. Run. Oh, my breakpoint got set again. I'm going to delete my breakpoint and run from here, and it worked. All right, cool. Now we'll try empty, and that did not work. Okay, once again, set the breakpoint, run again, and I'm going to jump into, and step over, step over. Here's my method under test empty. I'm going to jump into, and empty is always false. Well, what is the correct answer? I'm going to have to take a look at that. So in order to figure out how empty should work, I'm going into the textbook here, and I'm going into definition and status size and empty both return a bool. And if there's something in it, empty returns false. If there's not, empty returns true. But how do we implement that? I'm going to the status again, and empty is size equals size of 0. Well, that's awesome. I actually have the C++ there. So I'm going to copy that bad boy. And now I'm going to go into empty, and I'm going to replace that with size, which is going to be this guy right here, equals size of 0. Going to increase my spacing there to make sure it looks good. I'm going to run it again. And, oh, I forgot that I have my breakpoint set again. Delete breakpoint, hit play, and that worked. Okay. And is that also going to work with the standard fixture? And the answer is yes. Okay, excellent. Let's see here. What's the next easiest one here to work on? Let's say front. Let's take a look at front. So I'm going to run this one, and it fails. I don't know why it fails, so I'm going to set the breakpoint here. I'm going to run it again, and I'm going to step into, and looks like I have one element in my queue. Step over, step over, step over. And it's expecting that number to be, well, I don't know what it is. Once again, I'm going to take a look at the textbook to see what's going on. Let's see here. I'm going to say access, and I have front and back. So if I have one element, the front and the back should both return that one element. And if I have several elements, front should be the front element and back should be the back element. Okay. How's that going to work? Well, I'm going to take the implementation of it, and the front is, I'm just going to say the container.front. Oh, that's pretty straightforward. And the back, I'm going to say container.back. All right, let's see if we can implement that. Okay, so let's take a look at our implementation. So I'm going into queue, and I need, let's see here, assignment operator. Front is always returning a new element. I don't think that's what it should be, but what should I return instead? I'm going to return container.front. I think that's what it said. And let's run it. Build succeeded. Excellent. Okay, I have my breakpoint still set. I'm going to delete my breakpoint and run from here, and it succeeded. All right, let's try this one from standard. Build succeeded. All right, looks like that was the correct answer. I'm going to run it again, and that worked as well. And one more time. Whoa, we had an error. Let's find out what's going on here. So I'm going to set the breakpoint, and I'm going to delete this window here. Set it one more time. And in here, I'm going to step into, over, looks like I have 4 elements. And I'm going to write to the value, step into. Oh, look, I needed to do that for both the read-only and the read-write version. Okay, so I'm going to copy that, paste it in, stop, run over, run again, and run from here, and it works. All right. Okay, let's take a look at one more example here. I want to push, let's do a push empty. So I'm going to push an element onto the empty list. Let's see how it goes. Run from here, and it looks like we had some errors. So we have not yet implemented this. So I'm going to run it again, and I'm going to jump into it. And let's see here, I have an empty queue, and I have the value 99, and I want to push the value 99 onto it using push. Okay, now I'm not sure how that works, so I'm going to take a look at the text to see both how it looks from the client's perspective as well as the implementation. So let's see here. Push is a type of insert, and I'm just going to push it onto the back, it looks like. Okay, I can do that. And it looks like there's a copy push and a move push, both of them. Okay, now sometimes we have the actual code, sometimes we have less. but we're going to see how we can push this guy into the array. All right. Looks like I'm going to use pushback for that. Okay, so let's go find the code for this. I'm going to q dot push, and then I will say container dot push back. T is the value I want to push back. Okay, let's make it all tidy. And let's see if that works. So when I run it, and I have my breakpoint still here, but I'm feeling pretty feisty, so I'm just going to run with it. And I hit play, and it worked. Okay, good. Let's remove this one and try it. Oh yeah, 13 tests. I'm doing well. Do another one. Oh, 14 tests. I'm feeling super confident here. All right, let's do push move. Surely that's going to work just fine. Oh, it does not move. Why does it not? Didn't I just implement that? Let's find out here. So I'm going to step into, and then I'm going to create an empty guy and move. Step into, and oh, look, I have the copy push and the move push. I only did the copy push. Well, all I need to do is do container.pushback, right? That should work just fine. Let's find out here. So I'm going to run it, and I stop right there. Let's run from this point. And well, we have less errors, but what does this mean? Well, let's find out here. I'm going to run it one more time, and I'm going to step into, okay, step over, step over, step over, step over, push, okay. So my queue.container has one element that has my value, which is value 99, so that's right. But my SPY tells me that I didn't have the right number of moves and copies and assigns. So in other words, I have to make sure that we move the right guy. Well, let's figure out what happens here. So I'm going back into my queue, and oh, right, this copies T, it doesn't move it. So how do I move T? I got to do std : move, and let's see if that works. So I'm going to hit play again, and it's going to run here. I'm going to delete this breakpoint and run from here, and it works. Good. Remove this one, and it works. Good. And notice how I do one unit test at a time, and this one, and it works. Oh yeah, all right. And we'll follow the same process, one test at a time, for every unit test in the program. You can learn more about how to implement the queue in the queue chapter of the C++ Data Structures textbook.